Take a walk with me, I'm on the ranch. Take a walk with me. Watch Raven and Prissy dance in the breeze. Junior Cluckin' and Oscar's cock-a-doodle-doo-doos just for you. Lucky and Lucy gobbling as they do. Take a walk with me on the ranch. Take a walk with me.
I'm here. I hope the girls kept you entertained while I was gone. What just happened was I came out. It is 66 beautiful degrees out. And when I came out, I looked over at Pikes Peak, and it is beautiful. So I thought, I'm going to go over and sit on the garden that has cinder blocks around it and point the camera at Pikes Peak. And as I'm walking over there, I get a whiff of some sort of urine. Not cat urine, but it's just a smell that you can tell is some sort of urine. Now, I'm going to show you why I freaked out immediately. And you can tell in this video, something is wrong with its back left leg, like it was broke or something. It doesn't even use it. I think it happened before because it never really looked like it walked right. But if that thing is only on 3 legs and it went that fast yesterday to catch Oscar, this thing has got to go. So I came back over here, put the camera in front of the horses, and ran and got my car so I can sit in my car. I hate being scared like this. I shouldn't have to be scared like this. This is silly. Okay, and no, I don't think so. Okay, I have my coffee. So that is why you had to look at the horses for a couple of minutes while I went and got the car, because I'm still very, very afraid. I have so much to do today because I spent so much time with that fox yesterday afternoon. This over here that I'm cleaning up today was supposed to be done yesterday, so I'm behind. But you know what? That was yesterday. We're going to move on today. And all I have to say for today is Happy Mother's Day. I think I want to do think I want to do my positive quote before I get into Mother's Day. My neighbor and my friend down the road, Amy, posted something on her Facebook yesterday, and I loved it. And I said, I love that. I'm using it in the morning because it is so true that, and it definitely pertains to what I want to talk about today and Mother's Day. But how about first okay, right before I came out here, I was having more technological difficulties. I can't even say the word. I would edit a photo, I would go to upload it, and even though I edited the photo, it was uploading the old photo, which really didn't exist anymore because I edited it. And I had to try like 3 or 4 times to get it to work. Anyway, I don't know if you can hear it. You hear it? I turned it down a little. There. That's better. Okay. Happy birthday, Tara. Tara goes by an alias, but I don't want to say the alias because the alias is for her job, and that's where I met Tara. Anyway, I know your daughter, I mean, I don't know her personally, but your daughter is beautiful, and I'm sure that you're not going to get cheated. I'm sure she got you a birthday present and a Mother's Day present because that's the kind of daughter you raised. So you have a wonderful day, Tara. Happy birthday, John, and happy birthday, Mark. I hope you have a wonderful day and another amazing trip around the sun. Okay. So let's talk about this positive quote. If it'll come up now. Because who knows? Is that it? Look at that. That's it. I did not write it down because I thought I was going to be able to see it. Nope, I'm not doing that. Exit. So, okay. Why did I touch that? I'm going to have to go grab my other phone. So, you know what? We're not going to do it right this minute. What we will do instead is we will talk about this. That one worked. Okay, June 7th, Saturday, 8:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. I will have a booth set up at Elizabeth. It is the same weekend as the Elizabeth Stampede Rodeo. The rodeo starts at 7. So if you're coming from out of town, you could come early and go to Elizabeth first. There's going to be a parade. There's going to be lots of family events, lots of booths to look at. So bring your credit card. Heartland Ranch does take credit cards. So that is going to be a fun day. I am going to let you look at the girls. I'm going to run in and grab my other phone. It is already very toasty out here. So the rest of the world has a wind chill. Like it's 32 degrees, but with the wind chill, it feels like it's 16. In Colorado, we have a sun warning. It's 66 degrees, but it feels like 97. I gotta make sure the volume is turned down. Okay, let me go to also Amy is up for this. I think I talked about this before. Amy is up for this Mother of the Year award. She's right in third place right now out of a lot of people. And she'll get $20,000 and a trip. So Amy gave birth to 13 children. Can you imagine? I can't. I did 4 and I was done. And I had all 4 boys. And I wasn't going to try for a girl because, so I just went out and bought a 65 Mustang instead. And I named her Emma. But I love my boys. But I just wasn't going to try again. So anyway, Amy's thing is on my Heartland Ranch Colorado page. I'll repost it so it'll come up farther. The vote is free. You can also buy votes. But you could vote once every 24 hours. She thought that when she entered this, she thought it was just, like a week. It goes to June. So you can vote once every 24 hours. So please do that. Let's get Amy in first place. All right. Now the sun is in my eyes and I'm having trouble seeing. So now I have to try. Let me show you this first. This came up in my memories today. May 10th of 2020, a week after Prissy was born. And so you do this thing then and now. So I put that picture that I took last summer up in the, it was over at the North 40 acres the day the girls got out. And they were just standing there all majestic. And there goes the Cabreras right now. So yeah, if you could do that, go to my Facebook page and give Amy a vote every 24 hours. Let's get her in first place. She deserves it. So anyway, Amy, no, that's not it. See, I can't even see. Good gravy. No, I can't do that one yet. All right, so let's talk about this. This is important that you remember this, whether you believe in God or not. You have to have faith. You have to have faith in something. Otherwise, you'll just be negative all the time and bad things will happen to you. Just have faith, please. So faith doesn't always take you out of the problem, but faith takes you through the problem. I know this from experience. And like I told you before, I don't really say anything ever if I haven't experienced it. I have experienced so much in the last 10 years of my life. I really believe this. If you have faith, it's going to take you through that problem. I have faith that this fox will be gone. I have faith that God is going to take me through this because I'll tell you what. Oh my gosh, did you just see that butterfly? Probably not because I have the overlay up. First butterfly of the year. Anyway, I have faith that this is all going to work out like it's supposed to. And that's another problem. And I always say this: people pray, but they don't really listen for the answer because it's not what they want to hear. You have to listen. There are so many times that I prayed and I prayed and I prayed. And we can talk about this later about my Mother's Day thing. I'll try to remember to talk about the faith part. But you have to listen for the answers after you pray, because it's probably not going to be something that you want to hear. There's a different plan for you on this life, whether you believe in God or not, whether you believe God is taking you on that path. There's a path for you. And like I said yesterday, you can't sit in the chair and wait for it to come. You got to get out and do something about it. Faith doesn't always take away the pain, but faith gives you the ability to handle the pain. I'm experiencing that. I've experienced that. I didn't cry about Oscar yet. But I'm angry. And I know once we kill the fox, because when it got Boo, I just thought it was a one-time incident. I didn't realize that last Sunday it was going to be a problem, an ongoing problem. But I have faith that this is a learning experience. This fox on this property is a learning experience. And we have to do everything we can to protect our animals. How do you protect your animals from something you've never experienced? I needed this learning lesson. I need this in my life. I need this experience. So just believe that faith gives you the ability to handle the pain. Faith doesn't always take you out of the storm, but faith calms you in the midst of a storm. If I didn't have faith, I would still be going crazy right now. I'd be running around. I'd be screaming like a screaming Mimi. I'd be calling for this fox. I'd have a metal baseball bat in my hand. I'm either going to get this fox today, or the gentleman that's coming tomorrow will get this fox. I'm going to have to talk to my neighbors. I don't think it's down as far as the Cabreras or Dustin's. I am going to talk to Glenn, and I'm going to talk to Nancy next door, because this fox either came over this morning from Nancy's, or it came out from under the RV. If it's under the RV, I'll guarantee you it does not have babies, because I would hear them. I hear the cats when they're under there. My cats hear the cats when they're under there. There are no babies crying if that's where she had babies, if she had babies. Look at Prissy playing with her ball. So I want to talk to Glenn and Nancy if this gentleman has to go on their property to track this fox. Now that I know it not only has mange, but it has a broken leg, I really, for its sake, I want to put it out of its misery. So that's all about that. All right. So anyway, Mother's Day. Let's talk about Mother's Day before we talk about our pop quiz today. Okay, so did you notice I have not fed the horses yet? It's because I'm afraid to go in the hay barn. But I have to man up and do this, right? Or woman up. Let's do that. They're being so good. Now that and I put, Okay, now I'm upset. I put 2 pieces of chicken in here. And I know exactly what happened because I sent Jim last night I downloaded the Ring video and I sent it to Jim and I said, Minnie's not as stupid as Max. Well, there was a video, I want to say it was about 8:30, 9 o'clock. And Minnie, the black cat, comes over here. And instead of going on this side, I saw her over here and she was putting her fingers through. That little stinker took out the 2 pieces of chicken I had in there. Now, if you remember when we were going to try to get the skunk, the first night, Max went in and took the chicken or whatever I had in there and got caught in the trap until the next morning. He was so cute. That was a learning lesson for me and for Max, but for me, that we needed to tie strings on there to open it up so we wouldn't have to actually go and touch the cage with the skunk in it. I promise I'm going to try to work on the video today, but let me just tell you this. The skunk chewed the strings, chewed off the rope that we had tied on there to open. I heard a noise. Sorry. The skunk chewed off the strings that I had on there to open the cage. So, needless to say, we smelled like skunk. And I'm telling you, after I took my coat off and stuff, it was more Jim than me. And his van still smells. So let me feed the girls. And I didn't bring the scissors over. Oh, yes, there's scissors right here. I cannot find my really good twine cutter. It might be in my house somewhere. Chrissy, please stop. You're not getting grain right now. Or it might be in my car somewhere, but I looked in my car. I have to open another bale, but I'm only bringing 3 at a time because 6 last night almost killed me. Two more. I don't know if you saw it, but when I was coming this way with the hay, Raven came out of the stall and I jumped, thinking it was Frankie the fox. Oh, such a beautiful day. Okay, right here, I just got a whiff of something. It kind of smells like skunk. No. Well, maybe. Does Jim have the van open again? If he does, that could be what it is. where, and there's a little bunny over there. I don't know if you could see it, but just like I had the conversation with Rocky the raccoon, why do you have to go over after my chickens? Why can't you get the bunnies? I would know. This will all be cleaned up tomorrow. Yeah, who am I kidding? No, Jim does not have the van open. Interesting. Why did I smell skunk on the other side of the barn? Don't tell me there's another one. I'll just rent one of those trucks with the big, I don't know, 500-gallon thing on the back with a sprayer. And I will just go around the perimeter of the property spraying with anti-annoying animal spray. Okay. Let me go through this. And I have to put it over here so I can read. Then the car door is in the way. You know what? Let me take my coffee. I took the lid off so it would cool a little bit. Let's go over here. In my stealth shed where I was last night. See, here's one of the ropes that was supposed to be tied to the cage, but that silly skunk chewed it off. All right. I'm going to face you towards Pikes Peak. Can I put you in here and you can still see Pikes Peak? Let's look. If you're on YouTube, you can zoom in. Just turn the light on and that'll help me see a little better. Okay. This is a good question, although I totally disagree with the answer. Which side of the horse should you mount from? The left, the front, the back, which I've seen people do, or the right? Left, front, back, or right? If you said the right side, you're wrong. It's the left side. Now, the reasoning on this website says when mounting a horse, it is customary to do so from the left side. This tradition dates back to the days when the knights would wear their swords on their left side. Okay, let's talk about this, because do you think maybe the knights wore their swords on their left side because they were smart enough to know that the left side of the horse's brain is the thinking side? They didn't mount the horse from the left side because their sword was there. They put their sword there so they could mount on the left side. You know, it's just sad that there's all this information out there on the web, and half of it is not true. I think back then they were smart enough to know horses. They're the ones that originally trained horses. They figured it out. They knew that if you mount it on the left side, a horse is going to be calmer because it's thinking than its reaction side, which is the right side. So they purposely put their swords on their left side so they could mount on the left side of the horse. I'm not going to ramble. I really wish I could see. I think I'm to the point now where I need a magnifying glass like Colette. All right, let's talk Mother's Day. I got a text this morning from Dee, my friend in Illinois, and told me Happy Mother's Day, but a lot of you might not know this, which is why I want to talk about it. I have not seen my children in 15 years. My oldest grandson, who is 17, unless he just turned 18, I can't do math right now. I pretty much helped raise for the first 2 years of his life. My granddaughter and my other grandson, I've never even met. Why am I not in tears right now? First of all, I have faith. I have faith. I think about, and you know what? If it's not true, that's fine. But I'm a happier person. I'm not curled up in a ball. I'm not all depressed. I'm not, homeless in a box because all I can do is cry because my kids won't talk to me. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because for some reason, this is the generation of children divorcing their parents. If these kids today think they have it bad, they should have grew up with me. I loved my parents, but my parents didn't even tell me they loved me until I was in my 40s. Not once did my parents tell me they were proud of me. My father would come home drunk after bowling and wake me up at midnight. And he would say, "Get down here, I want to talk to you." My dad had so much anger inside him from his own miserable life. Instead of dealing with that anger, he had to take it out on other people. Well, unfortunately, I was one of those people at the ripe old age of 7 who still had to go to school the next day. And I would have to come down and sit at the kitchen table and listen to the same story from when he was young and how miserable his life was. And this happened constantly. I never made my children sit at the table. Now, my kids were boys, and when they got taller than me, it was hard to make them do anything. Ryan was such a picky eater. I would make breakfast for them in the morning, and all Ryan would want is a Monster. Guess what? When my ex-husband wanted to take Kyle to New York and keep him there, well, he did. He kind of kidnapped him, and I never saw Kyle again, even though I fought for him. That turned back in my face. My ex-husband's lawyer turned that back in my face and said, "You refused to feed Ryan breakfast. All he could have for breakfast was a Monster." Now, what the hell was I supposed to do? Put him duct tape him to a chair and, shove it down his throat? Shove pancakes down his throat? No, because that would have been abuse also. So do you see how people, and especially the courts and especially lawyers, can take the simplest thing? Ryan, at the ripe old age of 15, refused to eat pancakes or waffles or eggs and bacon. Ryan wanted a Monster before he went to school. And they turned that around to, that's all I would allow Ryan to have. Kyle, I gave him a hug and a kiss. before Christopher took Ryan and Kyle to put on a plane to go to New York to my ex-husband's for spring break, I never saw Kyle again. To me, that's kidnapping. I had residential custody of my son. Somehow the police didn't think it was important. It was okay. Then I would try to contact Kyle. I had like 3/4 of an inch to an inch stack of papers of emails that I had sent Kyle that Kyle never received. Then, when Brian wanted his new wife to adopt my son, it was in the paperwork that I abandoned my son, that I never tried to have contact with him. Do you see how evil people can be? I sent Kyle hundreds of emails that Kyle never got. I did one Thanksgiving. I was able to get a hold of Kyle. I called the house phone and Kyle actually answered. And we had such a nice conversation for about an hour. Kyle gave me his cell phone number. Well, guess what? Brian blocked my number, so I couldn't even contact Kyle that way. Do you see how evil people can be? But do you know what? Moms out there who have not seen your kids in forever, we carried those babies and grew those babies in our tummies for 9 months. We took care of those babies when they were sick. When I remember once, both Ryan and Kyle vomiting and diarrhea, both of them. At the same time, I'm running all over the house, trying to clean up behind them. Sean was 6 years old, and he's my oldest. He's 42 now. He was 6 years old. It was Halloween. Sean has ADHD. Sean's nickname was Taz, like the Tasmanian devil. Sean actually that was his very first tattoo on his arm, was Taz. And this was right when the Haemophilus shot came out, the influenza type B. And it was new, but they were only giving it to kids from 2 to 5. Well, Sean was already 6. And I was debating whether to give it to Christopher. So we come home from Halloween, and Sean, who already has ADHD, was sitting on the floor in front of the TV with a pumpkin full of candy, not moving, just watching TV. And I'm sitting on the couch and I'm looking at him, I'm like, that's not right. I went over there and I touched his head. This child had 105 fever. I called the doctor, and the doctor says, just put cold clots on it. If it doesn't come down in 4 or 5 hours, let me know. Oh my God. Do you see you're supposed to trust? No, I trust my instinct. I trust my sixth sense, which I believe is God. And I hung up that phone and I looked at my husband and I said, I am not letting my child do this for 4 or 5 hours. We are going to the emergency room. You get to the emergency room and they don't even know what's wrong with him. They put a scope down his throat to make sure his esophagus wasn't closing. They did a spinal tap to check his spinal fluid. Nothing. Sean is in intensive care, 6 years old, in a bed, in a tent. And they finally, I don't know if it was saliva or blood they took, but it took 2 or 3 days to grow this culture. Then they find out it's Haemophilus. It's the shot that they weren't going to give Sean because he was already 6 and they were only giving it to kids 2 to 5. Now, they've got the shot to prevent it, but now it's going to take another 2 or 3 days to figure out which antibiotic is going to kill it. My poor 6-year-old son was in ICU for over a week. I was right there with him. My dad would come once in a while and give me a break so I could go home and take a shower, and I'd come right back. One day I'm sitting there and Sean turns his head and looks at me and says, and very calmly says to me, "Mom, I'm going to die now." Man, I was hitting that nurse's button as fast. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine your 6-year-old son just very calmly looking at you saying, "I'm going to die now"? This is the kind of stuff, if any of you kids are listening, this is the kind of stuff that mothers go through. We would do anything for our kids. Yet you have the choice to say, "Nope, never talking to you again." And then the bad thing with my situation is no one will tell me why. And I don't mind saying this because I know nobody in my family is watching, but no one in my family watches. No one in my family supports me. Nobody in my family shares my videos or likes my videos to help me get, monetary value going on my channels. But nobody will tell me why. And you know what? This is not my problem. This is their problem. If they don't want to be big boys and big girls and calmly talk about what's happening. And the reason I quit talking to my sister was because, and just a couple weeks ago, I found a letter from her, that I guess I posted something on Facebook. I was so angry. And I think it was when the whole adoption, it was either the adoption thing. I think it was the adoption thing. But she was saying about how good she was to me. Well, yeah, she did good things for me. I remember she bought me a guinea pig. I also remember I had to dig 5 inches of shit out of her dog shit out of her backyard before her landlord got there for inspection. I remember having to give up. I had plans to go do something with a friend and I had to give that up because she needed me to do something for her. And there's more to that, but I'll just let you know that when your sister writes a letter to the judge explaining why the father should have custody and not her own sister, that is not family. When your own sister is friends with both of your ex-husbands and their wives, that is not family. But you know what? Why should I ruin my life and not be happy because of their issues? And like I said again, if they told me what the issues were, we could discuss it. But no one will tell me why they are not speaking to me. Do not allow your children. You gave your children your life. I gave my children my life. Yes, I worked, but at that time I had my parents to watch my kids. I worked when my husband wasn't working. And then we moved to Colorado, and my ex-husband is traveling 2 weeks out of the month. And he says to me, well, at that time I was trying to revive my custom creations, my wedding and event planning in Colorado. Kyle was 2 years old. Sean was almost 18. Christopher was 15 or 16. I came home one day, and I'm pretty sure I had Kyle with me. And Sean and Chris were down in the basement in the family room. And I think they had a friend over, and there were BB holes in my wall. And it wasn't even my wall, it was my landlord's wall. There was about 30 BB holes in my wall. Now, I'm supposed to allow them to babysit my 2-year-old? Daycare at that time was $400 and some a week. I would be working to pay for daycare. Sometimes people just don't think, oh, well, she wouldn't work. Well, she wouldn't work because she couldn't trust her older kids to babysit, number one. And number two, she would just be working to pay for daycare. Do the math. My kids were lucky that they were able to not have to go to daycare. And then when we got to Colorado, I did put Kyle in daycare 2 days a week before he started kindergarten, because his brothers are older. You know, Ryan was 9 years older than Kyle. And there weren't a lot of kids around for him to play with. So I put him in daycare 2 days a week just to give him experience with other kids. And unfortunately, this daycare had a nanny cam, which was connected to a website. So the whole time Kyle is at daycare, instead of me getting stuff done, I'm on the computer. And this was before cell phones, you know. I'm on the computer watching Kyle at daycare. Too funny. So moms out there. Oh, I have to tell you one more story. And this is not family. So I think I talked about this before. My niece got married. Ryan was the ring bearer. The wedding went wonderful. Ryan was awesome. We walk into the reception and my ex-husband's there. Now I'm already remarried to Brian. I already have Ryan. Ryan was like 3 or 4. I walked into that reception and my ex-husband is sitting there. And I'm there with my new husband. No one told me they invited him. Why would you invite him? And that irritates me because I was the bigger person. I didn't freak out. But I had a birthday party for Brian, my ex-husband, who is best friends with Scott, who is dating Deanna, who they broke up. And now Deanna's married to Rob. But Scott is still Brian's best friend. I invite Scott to Brian's surprise birthday party. And as soon as Deanna sees him, she leaves. But it's okay for my ex-husband to show up at my niece's wedding. This is not my problem. This is their problem. Please don't ruin the rest of your life because someone is not speaking to you. And especially if they won't tell you why they're not speaking to you. I read so many things so many posts on Facebook. I read so many articles on Google News or whatever about my kids won't talk to me. This is their problem. Enjoy your Mother's Day. You did your work. For some reason, humanity is turning back into wildlife. Now, Prissy and Raven, they've been together for 5 years, which is usually not normal. Mare horses do not raise their filly. I was in the situation where Raven can do that. And I think the biggest thing, the reason why I didn't want to pull Prissy away from Raven or sell her, and I have in my will, I do not ever want them separated. I think the biggest reason is because I don't have my kids. And I don't want Raven to feel that pain. And the sad thing is, Brian fought so hard for Patty to adopt Kyle. Well, Patty was Brian's 3rd wife. Now they're divorced and Brian's on his 4th wife. Why was it my fault that we got divorced? I don't know. And of course, Brian told the boys, oh, he met Patty after the divorce. He bullshit. I remember the October that it was Halloween and he came home from one of his trips And he walked in the door and I was getting Kyle ready because he was an engineer and I decked out his big wheel to look like Thomas the Tank. And Brian walked in the door and I felt this bad aura. And then Brian would talk about Patty, how fun she was and how much fun they had at work and blah, 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 blah. And then I see on the charge card a necklace from like Nordstrom's. Well, I never got that necklace. Brian cheated on me. And if his kids don't want to believe that, if they want to believe all the lies they were told, there's nothing I can do about that. I'm done trying to defend myself. I'm done with my stomach burning constantly because of idiots. People who, I'm not going to mention it, but there is someone in my family who lives on this stuff, who lives to put barriers between people, who lives to make up lies. And it's been like that for years and years and years. If I was smart, after Sean was born, I should have left the state. And like I said, if I could do it all over again, I would raise my children the way I wanted to raise my children, not the way I was told to raise my children. Okay. Anyway, that whole rant was just for you mothers out there who are alone today without your children. Just realize you grew that child for 9 months and you raised that child every day through sickness and in health, through PTA meetings, through baseball games, through everything. You did your part. You did what you were supposed to do, and I'm sure you did your best. Because here's the thing. If you personally abandon your child, no, you did not do your best. But if you were with that child every day and you tucked that child into bed every night and you kissed him on the head and said, I love you, you did your best. Every parent fails at something. Nobody's perfect. Nobody is perfect. Do not beat yourself up today. I want you to go make somebody else smile today. Just like Dee did to me this morning. Honestly, I wasn't even thinking about Mother's Day. And then Dee texted me. And when she said, it must be hard, I smiled because she remembered me. Go out and make somebody smile today. Like, share, follow, subscribe, say hi in the comments, and we will see you tonight.